Now, if you would consider yourself a dividend investor that wants to accelerate your dividend income on a consistent basis and get your portfolio to the point to where it's paying you a substantial amount of dividends per month and per year, but you don't want to buy into some high yielding junk and sacrifice the overall health and upside for your portfolio long term. Well, if that's the case for you specifically as an investor, just like it's the case for me, stick around until the end because we're going to go through 5 different stocks and ETFs that are going to offer some potential upside ahead and also offer a boatload of dividend income from day one, but all while doing so in a very, very safe manner. So if you're looking to accelerate your dividend income, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into the first asset. Real quick for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the markets. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. Now, the first single stock that can definitely potentially accelerate your dividend income right from day one, but also offer a boatload of upside on top of that, is one of my favorite single holdings, Main Street Capital, or ticker symbol MAIN, a business development company that also pays dividends every single month. Now, Main Street Capital, as of right now, as of filming this video, is basically trading just a bit off of all-time highs, so I by no means am saying that Main Street Capital is the best opportunity to buy into as of right this second, but it's definitely one to have on your watch list, and for me personally, I still, even at these levels, grab a few shares of Main every so often. Now, that's because Main Street Capital's business model is more or less bulletproof in my opinion. They have a plethora of amazing companies in their portfolio, and because this Main Street Capital, as you can see here, is up around 230%, and that's not even including the massive dividends that Main Street Capital pays. Now, speaking of dividends, I told you that this video is going to be based around different stocks and ETFs that offer a ton of dividend yield from day one, but also doing so in a safe manner and also offer upside, which honestly, trying to find different stocks and ETFs that offer all that is not the easiest, but I did find a few. Now, as you just saw a second ago, Main Street Capital is offering around an 8% forward yield, and this is due to the fact that Main Street Capital over time has been raising their dividends, and as you can see right here in the darker lines, Main Street Capital also pays a ton of special dividends, which as of recently have been around 30 cents, which again is a dividend on top of the normal dividend. So Main Street Capital in my portfolio just pays me more and more money, it seems like, consistently. Now, once again, Main isn't the best opportunity as of right now as an entry, but definitely one worth having on your watch list. Look a little bit deeper into this one if you haven't already. Now, another single name that offers a ton of dividends from day one and also has some potential for upside is ticker symbol EPD, or Enterprise Product Partners LP. This is a limited partnership. The taxation is a little bit complicated, but besides that aspect, EPD has been going straight up into the right over the past several years, ever since really 2020, and that's when I started buying it heavily. Now, Enterprise Product Partners is up around 457% over the max time frame, and year to date is up around 12.4%. The craziest part of all, though, it pays around a 7% forward yield. It does pay quarterly, so you are going to have to wait every 90 days to get paid out, but EPD has been paying more and more in dividends over time. The dividend growth rate isn't anything insane, but every few quarters, every few years, you can expect a few cents more. Just to give you an idea, back in 2020, I was getting paid around 45 cents per share per quarter of EPD. Now, as of recently, 53 cents, so there is some dividend growth there, and there's definitely some safety as far as the dividend goes too. You can see Enterprise Product Partners has been paying dividends for a lot longer than a lot of us have even been investing. Now, EPD always comes to mind if someone asks me what's a single stock that I should look into. If that investor is looking for some massive yield from day one and wants some upside on top of that, EPD, or Enterprise Product Partners, has done very, very well over the past few years, is pretty low beta, and definitely one to keep your eye on. Another one of my favorite options as of right now, for an investor that wants some upside, for an investor that wants a lot of yield, and for an investor that wants to do it all pretty safely, is SPYI, or the NEOS S&P 500 High Income ETF. This ETF is relatively new, only been trading for a few years, but over this time frame, it's up around 5% and has been paying investors around 12 or 13% yield year after year. Now, this ETF has a pretty standard cover call strategy. It writes cover calls in the S&P 500 and also sometimes buys call options. Now, because of that, there is some upside potentially depending on what the market does when this actively managed ETF does in fact buy calls. But also just as important, this ETF has been paying around 46, 47, 48, 50 cents per share per month, which is substantial, especially for an ETF that costs around 50 bucks per share. Now, think about it this way. If you're getting paid around 50 cents consistently every single month, that means that you're basically getting 1% of your investment paid back to you. Over 10 months at 10%, 20 months, 20%. Now, if this keeps on paying how it has historically, at least, this means that you're going to recoup your investment relatively fast. And again, at least historically speaking, SPYI is traded more or less sideways up into the right a little bit. This is one of my favorites that come to mind if you're looking for some substantial dividend acceleration in your portfolio, want some upside, and want to do it relatively safe. Now, another option that covers all that and more is definitely JEPQ with JP Morgan Nasdaq Equity Premium Income ETF. You guys have heard me talk about JEPQ before. There's not really much to say. This ETF has been going up and to the right pretty substantially, especially up until July this year. This ETF was up a lot year to date. Now, since then it has dipped a little bit, but still offering a potential entry point for investors that want to hold on to it for a long time. JEPQ is another cover call style ETF. It offers around 10% trailing 12-month yield, and although JEPQ doesn't pay the same exact amount of dividend income every single month, it's going to have a lot to do with things like volatility and option premiums. Still, that being said, JEPQ, even on the lower end of things, is offering investors around 7 or 8% yield, even at the lowest, so I don't think any of us are complaining, especially if JEPQ continues to trade up and to the right like it has historically. Now, because of JEPQ's performance, this is a great opportunity, I think, for investors that want some exposure to some massive income from day one. ETFs like this are going to make your dividend income go up a lot faster in your portfolio, but again, you're not going to do so by really sacrificing the quality of your overall portfolio, at least relatively speaking. Either way, JEPQ is one to look into. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this video already have it in your portfolio. Now, last but not least, a high quality dividend paying ETF that offers upside, that offers massive dividends, and that also offers safety. It has got to be one of my newer favorite ETFs that I just started buying as of recently, and I've been buying this one a lot as of recently. I'm talking about GPIX, or the Goldman Sachs S&P 500 Core Premium Income ETF. This ETF is very much so like JEPI or JEPQ. It tracks the S&P 500 for the most part, utilizes a cover call strategy, but from my understanding does it a little bit different, sells a little bit further out of the money calls. Again, I could be wrong, but that's my understanding. And because of doing so, when the S&P rises, this ETF rises along with it. As you can see, it's up around 23% in the max time frame. Again, it's only been trading since October, so take it with a grain of salt, but this is one of my favorite ETFs I've came across because, again, it offers a boatload of upside. You're getting exposure to the S&P 500, which who doesn't really want more exposure to that? And on top of that, at least historically, this ETF is paying investors a steady 34 cents, 33 cents, 32 cents every single month, which evens out to around 6, 7, 8% yield, and that's just doing math off the top of my head. Now, again, with any newer ETF, it's going to take time to see how it plays out, but at least so far, with the way the market has been trading, this ETF has offered a massive total return. And this is if you look at the price performance along with the dividend income, this ETF has made a lot of investors very happy, which is why, as of recently, I started grabbing some shares for my portfolio, and I'm going to most definitely build out a large position of this ETF in my portfolio and hold on to it long term. So those are 5 different stocks and or ETFs that in my opinion offer some potential upside, definitely offer a large amount of dividends from day one, and do it all while doing so pretty safely. Now, even though some investors out there might not be super concerned with accelerating their dividend income ASAP, I'm sure if you clicked on this video, and especially if you're still watching at this point, you, just like me, want to get your total monthly and total yearly dividend income totals up as fast as possible, as safe as possible. And by utilizing some of these higher yielding but safe higher yielding stocks and ETFs across the market, there's awesome ways to do so, and I would like to think that I crossed over a few good ones in this video. But now, most importantly, I want to hear from you guys down below. When it comes to accelerating your dividend income, growing your dividend income a lot faster than it would typically grow by buying into just blue chip names, what are some stocks, what are some ETFs that you recommend I look into? Drop the ticker symbols in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.